Hi there, welcome to the Fierce Factor podcast. I'm your host, Kaylee Lindholm. And I think it's time for us women to shift the conversation in business and step into our feminine leadership to do the most iconic work the aesthetic industry has ever seen. Each week, I'll be bringing a powerful dose of strategy, sarcasm, solutions, and sass that will rev up your creativity and ignite your brilliance as you link arms with me along our shared path of personal and professional growth in 20 minutes or less. Let's go. Hello, leader. Thank you for joining me for this week's episode of the Fierce Factor podcast. It's your host, Kaylee here, and let me tell you, I am so incredibly excited and passionate about this week's topic and what I am about to share with you. So get saddled up, sister. You are in for a treat today. I'm going to talk with you about the immeasurable value of surrounding yourself with the mentorship, wisdom, and support of other high-growth women like yourself. Here's the thing. Business ownership, it can actually be quite lonely. It can feel isolating. And I know when I talk with colleagues of mine, they tell me that they feel misunderstood a lot of the time. And I think that's the blessing and the curse of entrepreneurship. They'll say things like, my family loves and supports me, but they just don't get it. Or they don't understand why I'm stressed about certain things like patient care, or why I have to miss family get-togethers, or why I would rather sit with a glass of wine in my bathtub than go to a big fancy party. We're a unique breed. I've just come to accept that. But I learned some lessons along the way that I want to share with you related to the reason that we do live in such isolation. For many of us, it does begin as a choice. And not because we don't like to collaborate with others, but more as a defense mechanism to protect ourselves from unsolicited opinions and energy vacuums. But it doesn't have to be that way. So I'd like to illustrate a bit about why I'm not only qualified to talk about this topic, but I'm also living proof of the fact that without a leveled up mentorship community, a power squad, you will ultimately fall behind in your business. Now, I'm not typically one to pull scare tactics, and that's not what this is intended to do by any means. I just want to be very real with you today, leader. And I'll start by acknowledging all my doubters in the room because I was you just a few short years ago. I was a budding entrepreneur, a woman who climbed the corporate ladder and found herself sitting in a boardroom led by stuffy, narcissistic white male leaders whose idea of collaboration was to speak when spoken to. I vividly remember sitting in my first executive meeting as a sales director when a woman who I had really looked up to in our company was in the boardroom. She was someone who was very well respected in the industry. She had a team who loved her. She sat in that meeting and never made a single peep the entire meeting. I was in complete shock. Imagine if you had been a manager who spent hours upon hours of time each week listening to feedback from your sales reps and customers. And when you went to your leadership to pass along that treasured feedback, they didn't allow you, they didn't give you the space to contribute. She was basically shushed. She didn't even speak up to get shushed. It was shocking to me. Now, I wasn't new to the experience of having grown-ass men be intimidated or resentful of women who were a threat to them. But honestly, seeing this from a woman I so deeply admired, it was a disappointment that impacted me really seriously. It also lit a fire inside of me that was inextinguishable. Within a few months of working for this new boss, this male leader who was sort of running these meetings, where you're not allowed to sort of contribute or give your opinion, you just will answer a question when it's asked of you. I honestly didn't think that was possible and actually happened in corporate America. We began to have a massive clashing of the minds, and I knew my days there would be numbered. And at the end of the day, I left that experience and that company on a mission fueled by a level of energy I hadn't ever accessed in myself. I was done waiting for others' approval. I was done sharing my clients' brilliant ideas and feedback to help make the company better. And I was certainly done collaborating. And I decided to start my own company to be the creator of my destiny. You could say I kind of became a lone wolf for the next couple of years. I had very few industry colleagues I opened up to, and I certainly didn't want opinions, advice, or mentorship from anyone I didn't already trust. I was going to put blinders on and stay my own course, building my company alone. See, it's kind of like when you're having a baby and everyone wants to know the baby's name. And the first person you tell makes some like disapproving comment like, oh, that's interesting. And so you start to wonder if you're going to scar your child for life. I didn't even want to open myself up for feedback that I wasn't going to embrace. I just knew I wanted to do things a certain way and to experience a certain type of outcome. End of story. So for the first couple of years, I did my thing. Most of what I needed at that point in time was tactics. I needed information and how-tos. Hire a VA, get a website, start marketing my services, deliver and tweak my offers, adjust my pricing, hire a bookkeeper, get a CRM. I was doing the things. And so that was okay for a while until it wasn't. One day I woke up and I felt completely alone. I wondered how other business owners were handling disappointments, failures, pivots, business model transitions, emotional and physical exhaustion. I didn't need information anymore, per se. I needed insights from women who were actually doing the thing, who understood the grind. But I honestly didn't know where to go for that. I didn't necessarily have a great track record building community. And I was a skeptic that I would meet other women and they would not only truly understand me, that they would want to give me unsolicited advice or that they wouldn't have really walked in my shoes. They would only be supportive of me if I wasn't a threat to them. And that's when I knew it was time to get some help. And I hired a business coach and I learned that so much of my challenge was simply my willingness to open up and be vulnerable with other women. I was operating in business mode constantly. And honestly, I didn't know how to open up in a productive way. The only model I knew was clawing my way up the corporate ladder. And I was living by the false assumption that I could create a business on my own that still had meaning and purpose and impact. And I know now that was a lie because success, it's not an event. It's a journey, a long journey. And the only way to make it enjoyable is to learn how to celebrate small wins along the way, to appreciate the process of growth, and to invest deeper into relationships with people who are willing and able to celebrate with you. Think about it. When was the last time you called someone outside of your best friend or family member to celebrate you? Do you truly have the kind of support you need to endure the ups and downs of business ownership? Are you approachable in a way that you're willing to share your weaknesses or vulnerabilities with someone who's been there? I was operating in business mode and operating in isolation because opening up to a stranger felt more uncomfortable to me than enduring the pain of whatever experience I was going through. But what I've learned is that we do need others. We need others' ideas, other people's energy, other people's support, other people's guidance, feedback, creativity, passion, experience, and resources. Our power is truly in our network. I always think about when we get into an elevator and typically while everyone is condensed into like a 5-foot locked box, rarely do people talk to each other or even make eye contact. It's our instinct to want to isolate ourselves. But if you're a business owner, you have to make it an intention to find your community. I'm not talking about Instagram friends. I'm talking about a deep, meaningful relationship that challenges you, that stimulates you, that energizes you, and that inspires you to celebrate back. It's a relationship with other women who understand you. When your employee leaves and you want to bury your face in a pillow for an entire day, when you're weeks behind on construction in your new space with a million logistics to organize, and your kids have an open house at school, when your babysitter gets COVID and you have to cancel your entire day and lose thousands of dollars worth of income, when all you want to do is sell your business so you don't have to show up to a business that's running you 500 miles per hour with no time to even take a pee, when you're fed up hearing the same old industry BS and you're craving a fresh perspective. What I'm talking about here is not just a feel-good community. I'm talking about a power circle, an inspiring and intentional group of high-impact female entrepreneurs who recognize your game. A power circle like our Pop Leadership Academy, women who aren't focused on looking important, but instead becoming true thought leaders in our industry and change makers in their community. A power squad where we are talking about scaling past the next $1 million milestone and doing it like a damn boss. A confident, clear, resolute leader who doesn't rush through life, but has a methodical approach to growth and has time for the things that matter. You see, leader, my early experiences in business didn't prepare me to lean into a new way of operating as a female leader, a way that celebrates collaboration and speaking up, a place where we can lean into our weaknesses and sharpen our pencil in a safe and supportive environment, including others in the success journey and uplifting and rejoicing with each other. And once I discovered this, it became like tailwind for me in my business every single day, and a safe haven for our clients. So I want to challenge you today, leader, to find your own power circle. Curate the community you need to prepare you to become the woman you're capable of becoming. Cultivate an ecosystem around you that uplifts you, empowers you, and inspires you. And it's not always easy, but it's absolutely essential. And if you're looking to find your power squad, if you're ready to make that move, I'd like to offer that our Confidence to Scale business growth certification program just might be the ideal place for you to start. Because for female founders, scaling a business is really less about the mechanics than it is about emotional readiness. Because if you aren't truly prepared to become the leader of your business instead of its celebrity or its number one employee, your best laid plans and systems will quite frankly never succeed. So I'd like to invite you to join me for our fall class of Confidence to Scale to take one critical pit stop along the success journey. And that stop being a hard look in the mirror to ask yourself if you're really prepared for the kind of success that you're dreaming of. Can you show up as a calm, well-directioned, rested CEO with focus on the right metrics while you're still treating patients most of the time? Can you handle the separation from your clients who want you and only you? Are you comfortable with your injectors or team members becoming the stars of the show while you build your empire behind the scenes? Will you face your hiring PTSD head on and shift your approach and capacity for disappointment in the process? Will you cut frivolous costs and invest heavily in your personal and professional growth? Are you ready to overcome imposter syndrome to step up as the unapologetic leader in your business that your team needs? Goddess, are you ready to transition from overworked provider to a bossed up CEO? Are you really ready? Now's your chance to gain access to our live 6-week coaching program, Confidence to Scale. We're kicking off this week and we only have a few spots left. So you can head to klcconsultants.com/scale to learn more about the program and apply to join us. We'll be capping the session at a limited number of students, and then we'll close it after that, and we'll be setting up a wait list. So don't wait. Goddess, I hope this episode has been helpful and really inspired you to consider the impact of finding your power squad. Don't live in isolation. Take active, inspired action to surround yourself with the mentorship, wisdom, and support of other high-growth women just like you. Thank you for tuning in, Goddess. Now go crush it. Wait, before you go, hey, if you're vibing with this conversation and you want to join me on my mission to help 100 inspiring and intentional women cross the next $1 million milestone in their business this year, or leader, maybe you want to become one of them, head over to Facebook and join our free community, the Fierce Factor Society. Over there, we're taking this conversation to an elevated level. Get access to resource guides, podcast supplements, guideposts, and direct communication with me, my expert team, and of course, a society of fierce women making big moves and disrupting the status quo in aesthetic wellness. You can link directly through the show notes or head to Facebook and search the Fierce Factor Society. See you there, Goddess.